It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is Terry Glaze with Red Dress. And we want to thank Terry Glaze, formerly of Pantera, formerly of Kick Tracy, blah, 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 for being a part of the Classic Metal Show.
Kick Tracy?
Not Kick Tracy, but Lord Tracy.
Lord Tracy. Come on, man.
Sorry, they both had Tracy in the name.
I know. I'm just fucking with you.
What could I say, man?
I like his new band a lot, that Raised by Gods. I like it. It's good. If you check it out on Spotify, it's really fucking good.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, that was kind of a throwback interview for you to, help bring the last live show of the year to the end.
Yeah, and it killed time. I mean, it was good to talk to Terry.
Sure.
He's good, man. And,
he seemed like he was very enthusiastic about being part of the show tonight.
Well, he said after the interview, he was like, it's funny because we did that. That's what, 30, 40 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, it was about 35 minutes.
We did another 30 minutes, just him and I shooting the shit after. And at the end, he was like, dude, I would love to come on that show and just fucking tell stories. I was like,
sure.
Dude, that door's always open, man.
We're always up for that.
But you know how it goes, dude. The first time everybody comes into it all fucking apprehensive and, whatever. I have a feeling, because a lot of his songs are dirty.
Sure.
A lot of his songs are dirty. He would fit in quite well with this show.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And especially once he gets a little bit comfortable, then he would be like really having fun with us. So
sure. Well,
he'll be on again.
Well, what again, I don't know this guy from Adam. I mean, I know of him.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that he has not had to work a job in the last 30 years?
He says he has not. He says.
Well, I know what he said, but my point is that has his music career allowed him to have, his job is his music career?
I would think yes.
Okay.
Lord Tracy signed a big contract when they signed. As I remember it, and again, I'm trying to remember back 30 fucking years ago, but
sure.
As I remember it, they were paid a lot of money.
All right.
To sign, because MCA had that minute where they were trying to find their metal band, their Warrant, Poison,
sure,
Crew, whatever.
Everybody was trying to capitalize on what was going on at the time.
Right. And I believe for MCA, Lord Tracy was that band.
Okay.
So they signed a huge contract.
Not Steel Piston.
Not Steel Piston. Steel Piston, well, you'd have to talk on that. I don't know what you guys got, but I don't think it was Lord Tracy money, was it?
No.
It was significantly less, but I think he's done okay.
All right. Again, I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
I will say this. We talked off the record about the first three Panteras being out there. And his answer was, if Vince ever decides to release those, regardless of if it ever sells a copy, just the Mechanicals will buy him a house. That's...
All right. I'm going to have to take his word for it. I mean, again, I don't know what kind of a, deal is in his favor, but, we often talk and speculate and discuss details on these kind of things that we kind of know about, but, and there are other things we don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
And, since you've not limited or cut the commentary on the YouTube from our clips.
Yeah.
I noticed that once in a while there are people out there who refute some of the things that we say, which is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
But I like the fact that there are people out there who go, these fucking clowns don't know what they're talking about.
I know.
Yeah,
they like to tell us that we're full of shit, because they saw LA Guns once.
Sure. But regardless of that, this Terry Glaze, Yeah. Nice. Seems like a nice enough fellow. I obviously have not spoken with this guy, and you had the opportunity to interview him this week.
Yeah.
And hey, all I got to say is a guy who has that much enthusiasm and that much passion for what he does, he deserves all the success in the world.
Yeah, I agree. I'm happy to meet a new guy that, completes my little interview circle with the Pantera guys and seems to be making cool music and seems like a cool guy. So.
Sure. He seems like a nice enough guy. And I understand after listening to the interview and listening to the first 3 Pantera albums prior to Cowboys from Hell.
Yeah.
It's obvious that his personal direction in music was not Cowboys from Hell.
No, it's very clear that he wasn't going there with them.
No, he's more into the and I'm not going to use the word hair metal, but he was more into the more melodic rock.
Exactly.
Yeah, he wasn't into the hardcore scream, punch you in the face kind of music. He was more into the more melodic stuff.
Right.
Which was fine because I enjoy that, and I know you do, and I know that as you get older, you sort of dabble into a lot of that stuff, especially from the 70s.
Yeah, I still listen to really heavy music too, but I'm just expanding my catalog now. I'm starting to get more into the 60s.
Sure.
I'm really, not that I ever wasn't a big Motown guy before, but I'm literally immersed at least 2 days a week with like Motown type stuff.
Sure.
All week this week, I couldn't stop listening to fucking the Shirelles and the Manhattans and shit like that.
Right.
I just was in a totally different place this
week. Well, and that's what's cool about music is that you can kind of discover other genres and go, wow, I kind of, and again, I think a lot of that has to do with, again, experience and age and personal experiences.
Right.
That it relates to your life.
Mm-hmm.
But I, prior to, and I'm not as diverse as you, but I've had I used to have, and I haven't done it in a while, but I used to have a wide range of music genres that I listened to.
Sure.
Because I didn't get into the real hard rock stuff until probably 83.
Okay.
And there were people that I went to high school with that were more into the harder stuff and considering harder.
Right.
Would have been Aerosmith, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple. I wasn't into that in my high school years.
Right.
But I discovered it later in my older years. Now, I went to school with kids or guys that, were into that stuff. But at that time, when I was in high school, I was listening to like Doobie Brothers, Chicago, Three Dog Night, more of the classic rock stuff.
Uh-huh.
And there were people that I knew that were listening to Deep Purple, Black Sabbath. I did listen to some Led Zeppelin, but they were more into Zeppelin than me.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But now for me, for the last 20 years at least, that's been a more of a staple for me. But then again, I listen to stuff like Gordon Lightfoot, Cat Stevens, more kind of folksy.
Chicago.
Chicago, more folksy rock stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have a variation much like you, but because you're home all day, you have an opportunity to sit there and explore new music and new avenues and stuff that lately I have not had a chance to really, explore or checked out.
Sure. And I mean, I think for me, a lot of it has to do with my mom and dad and how I was raised.
Sure.
So, and I've told this many times. My mom was a rocker. My mom, she took me to see Led Zeppelin in 1977. I was 9 years old. She took me to go see Zepp. And she was into all that, the Stones, the Beatles, anything that was rock at the time she was into, but then my dad was into all that other fucking awful shit. He was into, like 60s pop and bad 70s and, the Roger Whittakers and Slim Whitman and all that other shit.
Sure.
But I spent a lot of time, and I think that's why I have this other side, is because, normally the normal kid, well, they would just, if one parent listens to something that's cool and the other listens to something that's shit, well, they would just lean toward the cool parent, But for me, especially with the baseball, with me being a baseball guy, I spent so much time with my dad in his car going back and forth to games and practices and what have you, that I had to listen to his bullshit. And his bullshit sort of crept in until I started not hating it anymore. So I can listen to the Grassroots, or I can listen to Harry Chapin, or whatever he would have in his car, Roger Whittaker, or Dave Loggins, or whatever. I could listen to all that shit, and I did for years, to where now, now that I'm old, I'm bored with new music, and so I go back to the stuff that I was raised on, which is literally across the board musically. So, I don't know. I mean, aren't you bored with like the new stuff? Even bands you like, I'll take Dokken off the table, but if Winger or bands like that put out a new record, do you really care for long?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't last as long as it used to.
Yeah, I mean, you'll listen to it and you'll be like, yeah, that's pretty cool. You might play a song or two on the show, but then it's like, all right, I'm already off that. When's the last time we played anything from Winger that wasn't on the first two records?
Sure.
Never. Maybe once when the album first comes out, or if we're interviewing Kip or something, maybe. But, like this Extreme record that came out, 3 months ago or whatever. We played a little of it, or I did in the CMS inside the studio. I haven't listened to it since. If I listen to Extreme, I'll go back to, the classic stuff.
Sure. Well, stuff. But the thing is that if in today's environment,
mm-hmm.
there was an outlet that was popular, it was like a mass appeal outlet, be it like an MTV or commercial radio or something like that. Sure. And they were playing a lot of these songs again and again and again, the new stuff.
Right.
It would probably become ingrained in your head that I want to listen to that again. But because we have to experience it for ourselves or seek it out ourselves, mm-hmm. it doesn't stick as long.
No.
It's not a psychological thing to where you've heard it again and again and again because you turned on the radio and Winger 17 is on the radio, or if you turned on MTV, Winger 17 video is on TV.
Right.
It doesn't get ingrained in your head.
Right.
So it's up to you to make that decision whether you allow that to seed itself into your psyche, I guess.
Sure. And I'm a big believer that music's never going to be that way anymore because of the fact that you fit it all in your fucking pocket now.
True. Because it's entertainment overload is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have, dude, say what you will about the clunky ass fucking Sony Walkman, which I had one.
Sure.
I had one that had the big strap and it was almost as big as a purse. The initial Sony Walkman. Well, when you had the Sony Walkman, you had to carry the Walkman and then you had to carry the tapes. So what did you do? You generally kept one tape in the player, one tape in your pocket, and you listened to those fucking tapes nonstop.
That's because that's the only choice you had. And I'm going to tell you, here at one point, I think it was like 1980, I'm going to say 85.
Right.
I had two tapes in my car that I listened to consistently.
Sure.
1985.
Mm-hmm.
Doc and Unchained the Night.
Okay.
And Led Zeppelin 4.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to those because those were the most accessible two tapes that I had. Now, I had a bunch of other tapes, but those were my most go-to tapes.
Sure.
Okay, because, buying a tape, even back in 1985, they were still $9 a piece. Okay, and $9 a piece for a piece of music, be it a tape or an album or whatever the case may be, that was even expensive.
It was an investment, yeah.
It was. So those were the two most common that I had available in my little, my little box there on the side between the seats,
Right.
So I remember playing those two the most often.
Sure.
But today, as you were saying, with your iPhone or,
iPod, whatever.
Well, again, even iPod is out of date.
Yeah, it is.
Even iPod, even though I own one, even iPod is out of date. But with your iPhone or smartphone or whatever it is that you have,
right,
you have literally hundreds to choose from.
Yeah, I have 9,800 songs on my phone.
Well, there you go.
That are on my phone. Let alone right next to it is the Spotify app where I got 3 million songs.
There you go.
30 million songs or whatever. So literally, I mean, I don't know how hardcore you've used your Spotify.
I use it every day. Every day.
I literally have, I think it's 1,100 bands that I have followed. So that when I go to Spotify, I don't have to search. I can just click the letter that they start with and find them.
Well, see, I choose by album.
Okay.
I don't do random, like random play or whatever. I actually choose by band and by album.
Sure. And I do that too. But I have all the bands saved because if you save the albums,
sure.
This is gonna really showcase what a fucking dork I am. If you save them by albums, and Michael Abatista, please listen, because this fucking feature sucks a dick. If you save on Spotify by album, it puts the songs into your song queue, and you're only allowed to have 10,000 songs. So you're only allowed to have about 1,000 albums that are saved for quick hitting.
Only 1,000?
Only 1,000. It's not nearly enough for me.
Not enough.
It's not.
I want more.
My Amazon account, I have 116,000 songs in. My phone, I keep 9,000 resident just in case I get. Look, I am the absolute guy that these guys want to fund, dude. Let me put it to you this way. Literally today, I got an email saying that my phone, if I want to upgrade my phone, is eligible. Okay, and I've only had this phone a year. This iPhone 6S, but I can get the iPhone 7 Plus if I want.
Sure.
And I started looking. I did not upgrade it today. I'm thinking about it, but, haven't quite yet. But I looked at the 256 gig hard drive. Because the 128, I have a 128 hard drive on my phone, and I only have 10 gig left. And I'm like, man, if I get the 256, I could put another 10,000 songs on here. or I could subscribe to more podcasts or whatever. I'm so fucking retarded with my music now that I want to have everything resident to me at all times. If I get in the car, I do not want to not be able to hear something. That's how retarded I've gotten with this shit.
Yeah, that gets, the thing is, and this is kind of a commentary about the state of where we are today. We are so used to instant gratification.
Yeah,
that it enrages us when we can't press a button and have it right there.
Oh, I know. Dude, I don't know if you've done this or not, but tell me if you have, because I've done it, and it pisses me off to no end, and it shouldn't. Because, to be perfectly fair and honest, you and I, have been given a 3-year gift.
Sure.
By our friend Michael over
absolutely, and I'm thankful for it every day.
And I am thankful beyond belief for it. I use Spotify all the fucking time. All the time. But tell me when you want to hear an album and it's not on Spotify that it just make you fucking like, what are these fucking guys doing?
Now I got to go to YouTube and see if somebody uploaded it there.
And literally it'll be something that's been out of print forever, that was only in print for fucking like 3 minutes.
Sure.
You know, I will look, like I did it this week. I looked for the Through the Fire from HSAS. You know, the Hagar Sean album.
Right, exactly.
And it's not there. And I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, now I got to go to my Amazon and download it or listen to it in a different app. And that's not what I want. God forbid I got to use a different app.
Sure.
To fucking listen to the music that I want. You know, we are so fucking spoiled musically.
I know. Well, you know, when your internet kind of screwed up on you a couple weeks ago, and you basically put a little apology out on the CMS Facebook to say, you know, sorry guys, it was just kind of fucked up, blah blah blah. Right. And I saw so many comments like, I want the money back that I spent for this free show, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, you know, it's just an inconvenience to me that I couldn't just tune in and there wasn't a show there.
Yeah, I know. It is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I've been trying very hard to be very humble and thankful for the gifts, and I call them gifts, that we've been given in this modern day of technology, because, you know, well, I'm going to give you an example.
All right.
Like today, or actually yesterday, when I pulled into my garage and I couldn't get the key out of my car, and I told the story at the beginning of the show, my first inclination was, okay, fuck, I can't get my key out of my ignition.
Right.
But my second thought, after I calmed down for a minute, was, well, at least it didn't happen in the parking lot of, you know, the parking of some, you know, department store or something. I was happy that it happened in my garage.
Right.
You know, so it's just a matter of trying to flip that around to say, you know what, I'm lucky it happened here and not someplace else.
Yeah.
You know, that's the whole idea. So the same thing with technology. Hey, I'm happy I got that access to that, you know?
Yeah. And again, it is the world we live in. It's that selfish fucking place, because the first thought is always, well, what the fuck? Why don't I have whatever? You know? And it's like, all right, why do I have any of it? You know, somebody else gave it to me.
Sure.
For God's sakes, you know, I didn't pay for this, you know? And again, it is what I'm so addicted to music right now. It isn't even funny. And because of that, I'm constantly looking for better and more ways to listen to it.
Right.
And I need to stop it, because, Lord, no, I can't possibly listen to more music than I do now.
Sure.
I don't think it's possible. I mean, I burn these phones up like nobody's business, because I'm always listening to music. Literally, my phone, and this is, you know, you always say it on the show, and I'll admit to it. My phone probably plays 12 hours of music a day, at least 12 hours that I'm listening to a day, and then podcasts and everything else on top of that. So, you know, I am a total digital fuck. If my internet's down, holy shit, I'm ready to fucking put the gun in my mouth. because I am the exact problem that if they ever drop the EMP, I'm not going to know what to do.
Right. And that's exactly what it'll say on your tombstone. Here lies Chris Aiken, a total digital fuck.
Yep.
Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Is this Scottie from the Commonwealth?
It is Scottie from the Commonwealth.
All right. What's up, Scottie?
I was just wondering, like, you know, you guys are talking about, you know, how well, obviously the both of you are so much into music. Why you guys haven't returned to vinyl? You know, I mean, I was just checking out for instance, I was checking out the Nine Inch Nails website, and Reznor's pretty much, he's selling his own music. I don't even think he even has a label anymore, and he's doing most of all his new stuff. Although he obviously sells the digital downloads, he's like invested heavily in vinyl, and vinyl has been making a huge comeback now for the past, I'd say, about 10 years or so. You know, a lot of artists are releasing their music on vinyl, and, you know, as far as, you know, a couple of audiophiles like yourself, the guys that are so into music, it surprises me that, you know, the both of you don't have, like, you know, like high-end turntables and are, you know, really, you know, rather it seems like you have a preference for digital as opposed to the analog.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Scotty. I do own a high-end turntable, and I do purchase vinyl periodically. It's not widely available. I mean, it is kind of a hit and miss type thing. But I have purchased vinyl, and I do have a vinyl collection. Mm-hmm. Although that is not my main way of listening to music, only because you are kind of like stuck in one room with a turntable and a record. Because I'm mobile, and Chris is mobile, or used to be anyway, when he was traveling back and forth from Pittsburgh. But when you're mobile, it's not likely that you're going to have a turntable in your passenger seat and be flipping records. Right. So
I have an MP3 player, and I mean, obviously for, you know, like, you know, if you're in your car or if you're on the go or something like that, well, clearly it's, you know, 100 times better than cassette ever was. But, you know, for, like, especially somebody like Chris who spends as much time at home, I mean, I work a lot of hours, but when I'm at home, it's like, man, just something about, you know, that vinyl and that, you know, like that warm sound and that analog sound, that it's just, if you have a high-end system with good speakers and everything, it's just, you can hear the difference, and it's just, I don't know, it's just something about, like, when I'm at home and I'm listening to music, you know, I just, you know, and there's a lot of albums where, you know, like, I obviously don't like every track, but I mean, there's certain albums that I will, and I'll just, you know, it's just something about it, you know, because I'm 55, and so, like, I'm from that vinyl era, you know, like we both are. We all remember, you know, going out and, you know, getting the new albums and putting it on the turntable, and it's just, seems like we've gotten away from that a lot. And it definitely is like a niche market. Not all, like you were saying, it's just not everything comes out on vinyl, but a lot of artists have gotten back to that because of the renewed interest in vinyl that's had a resurgence, like I said, in like it's about the past 10 years. And I'm surprised Chris isn't all over it. You know, I mean, as heavily as he is into music, that he wouldn't, you know, maybe he does. I don't know, but he doesn't refer to it all anyway.
I'll tell you, I do not. For a couple reasons. And first of all, I yesterday pre-ordered the Nine Inch Nails. You know, the second it showed up online, I pre-ordered it because I'm a huge fan. And right. To be honest, whatever the physical product is that Reznor's making me buy, because you had to buy like a digital plus a physical product, and I don't know if that's an album or a CD or a thumb drive or whatever it is. He didn't really specify. I didn't care.
Right.
You know, whatever it is going right to eBay. I have no use for it. I don't collect, so I don't need physical product. I literally, and Neely, you can, there's two reasons why. Neely, you can vouch for one of them, and I'll just be honest about the other. Because I don't collect it, I have no use at all for it. When people send me stuff, I'm very grateful, and I give it away or I throw it away. I do not keep CDs. I just don't. I have a couple books. They sit on my shelf. I didn't keep any of the artwork. I just kept the discs. They're on a shelf, and I never go to them. So vinyl for me, now the real problem with vinyl for me, and Neely, this is the part I think you can attest to. When I have parties over here at the house, a lot of shit ends up being thrown around. And sure. I know for a fact if I owned vinyl, those albums would go smashing against walls. Do you agree, Neely?
I would agree, but and I got to tell you, Scotty, I literally own vinyl that I purchased as a kid from way back in 1976. I still have them.
Hey, what was your first album you bought with your own money?
The very first album that I ever bought was Chicago's Greatest Hits from 1975.
My first album was Inagata Davida by the Iron Butterfly when it first came out in the 60s. I know it's embarrassing to admit it, but that was my first album.
That's not embarrassing. I'm about to give you embarrassing. My first vinyl album that I ever owned was Quiet Riot, Condition Critical. Horrible record.
But here's the other thing. I owned some 45s on the original Apple label from Badfinger.
Sure.
With Come and Get It.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I have some original Apple label 45s.
I had some back then, but you know what? They got lost somewhere along the journey in life. I don't know. I think maybe when I went in the service, my mom probably chucked a lot of that stuff in the trash, not thinking I was ever coming back for it or something. But yeah, I remember those 45. I remember the Badfinger ones because it looked like a green apple.
Yeah, it was a green apple on one side, and it was the cut side on the other side.
Yeah, I remember those. I remember when Kiss Alive 1 first came out, and my friend Mike and I, we went out and bought it that week as soon as it came out, and we'd listened to the first 3 albums, and you know what, those first 3 albums, like Kiss Kiss, Hotter Than Hell, and Dress to Kill, they're a little bit of a tough listen, the studio versions of them. But man, when that live album came out, it was wow, it was we wore the grooves off that album practically. But I got away from the vinyl, and then I said, about 8 years or so, I went out and I bought a Pioneer PLX 1000, and because somebody who was moving gifted me their speakers and their amplifiers, and I had nothing to do with them, so I went out and I bought the turntable, and then little by little, I've kind of built up a modest collection, 2 milk crates of albums that I can like Steely Dan, Asia, and some of the others, but it's stuff that's special to me. I won't just go out and buy anything just because it's out on vinyl. It has to be something I can endure listening to the whole album without wanting to skip tracks, if you know what I mean.
Well, again, that is a guilty pleasure, if you will, and you have to be able to sit there in a room and listen to a vinyl, but with mobile audio, being on an iPhone or an iPod or whatever the case may be, you can move about the house, you can leave the house, you can drive in your car, you can do all kinds of stuff and listen to your music. And I think that's what the modern digital age offers us. But I'm not going to disagree with you, Scotty. A vinyl is pretty cool, but you have to be kind of confined to one area to enjoy that. And that's one of those evenings that if you got nothing better to do, you put on your favorite vinyl, you sit in your room, you have an adult cocktail, and you kick back and you listen, light up some candles, whatever it is that you do, and listen to your vinyl. But it's not practical. There's nothing practical about a vinyl aside from being an aficionado who goes, you know what, vinyl's pretty cool. I enjoy the sound. I enjoy the ambience it provides. But aside from that, it's not like you're going to be, carting your vinyl around in the passenger seat of your car, and that's kind of where it ends for me.
Yeah, no, I understand completely. I agree with you. But anyway, great show last week too, by the way. And well,
we're great, Scotty. Just admit it. We're just a great duo.
You guys are. And I don't know, if I don't talk to you again, happy, joyous, and safe holiday to you and yours. And I'll talk to you soon. Hail and kill, fuck you, pal, and hand job.
There goes Scotty wanting to talk about music.
This is why we hate the fucking callers, man. It's like one fucking bad joke after another.
Thank you, Jim Norton. But people like Chris Aiken and myself, everybody's got their faves, whatever that is. But being that you have the luxury of working at home,
yeah,
you can listen to tunage 10, 12 hours a day.
Dude, and I'm so ridiculous with it now that I've really like the Spotify. You know what I like? One of the best features about Spotify, and I'm going to bet ahead of time that you've not used this once. There's a function on your phone with Spotify where you can throw the audio to any other device that you have in your house. So if you're listening on your phone, but you're getting ready to go in your room or something, you can just push a button and it'll throw to your Roku or it'll throw to your Amazon stick or whatever.
Right.
And you never even miss a note.
Yeah, but it's got to be on, though.
The Roku or whatever does, but I do it all the time.
Sure.
I do it constantly. I'll have the headphones on, and the iPhone headphones fucking hurt the insides of my ears. So I'll just push the button, and it'll throw right to my TV, and I'll take the headphones out.
Sure.
It's like, oh, this is good. Yeah. Nice.
It's like a Bluetooth feature.
It really is. I love it.
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about Spotify. I know that there's people that are like, oh, it's fucking ripping people off.
Oh, shut up.
Fuck you. You know what? It's not ripping people off. They're getting paid, so fuck off. The business model changed. Catch up to it.
Right. Well, so, I again, like you, can't say enough good things about Spotify because I literally do listen to it every day.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm not chatting with you on my way to work, I am listening to the Spotify in the car.
Yeah, I love it. I definitely, what I like best about it is literally whatever whim I have is there. Anything. If I'm in the mood for rap, I can listen to fucking Tupac. If I'm in the mood for death metal, I can throw on an Immolation record. I can go to whatever mood I'm in and that's perfect for me, a fucking psychopath that I am musically. I constantly go from Motorhead to ICP to Kid Rock to whatever, Cannibal Corpse. I constantly do that, and it's all there with Spotify. I love it. I love it to death.
Sure. Well, I'm going to agree with that. And again, thank you, Michael Abatista, for being so kind to us over the last few years and giving us a freebie.
I love it. And believe me, I have no problem promoting it because I use the fuck out of it.
I do too. I do as well.